Obviously, very worrying news about the King, but we know, of course, got best doctors, best care he's getting. He's started treatment already. We were told that it's found early. This is all a good prognosis. But tell us what will be happening behind the scenes in the palace. As someone who worked so closely with our late Queen, what would have been going on, and what would have been decision-making processes about how much information to give us?
Well, the decision making, and quite rightly, what sort of information to give us, they were quite right in saying that the King has cancer, the King is undergoing treatment. The good news part of that is that it is outpatient treatment, not inpatient treatment, which, while cancer is serious, it's not as serious as it would be if you were in hospital having treatment. They said that it was not prostate related. They made very clear 2 weeks ago when he was going to go into hospital, and they announced it, that the prostate enlarged one was not benign. So that was very positive news. What they are looking at now is trying to work out, and that's very difficult given the treatment the King's undergoing, when he's going to be back at work undertaking engagements. There are a few important things coming up. For example, March the 11th is the Commonwealth Day service. Now, the King is head of the Commonwealth, he is head of nation, he is head of state, and he is head of state of 14 of the realms. And his presence there would endorse the whole idea of Commonwealth Day. But then the late Queen missed 2 Commonwealth Days because of her mobility issues, and we didn't know what those mobility issues were. We do know now that the King has cancer, and the likelihood of him being at Westminster Abbey on the 11th of March is very slim. Will he be doing the Maundy service on the eve of Good Friday? That is a big question mark as well.
Yeah. But of course, these aren't major constitutional problems, are they? I mean, people could be incapacitated for many different reasons. The question is how long he's opportunity. Again, with this particularly this pared down royal family, it was something that King Charles, when he was Prince Charles, was very much pushing under the late Queen, wasn't it? Just like trying to get it down so you didn't have all these random royals, some distant royals getting in the news and causing embarrassment on the front of tabloids. All very well having a slimmed down royal family, but then losing Prince Andrew, losing Harry and Meghan. It's kind of, especially with Princess of Wales still recovering from her abdominal surgery, there aren't that many to go round, and there's a lot of things that they do.
There aren't many to go around, and there are a lot of things they do. As you rightly say, the Prince of Wales will probably fill in some of his father's engagements. His father is still, let's not forget, he's still undertaking his constitutional duties, still going through his red boxes, still dealing with state papers and signing off where they need to be signed off. Buckingham Palace have made very clear that he will be present at Privy Council meetings, and he will have audiences with his Prime Minister. So the business of state will continue. The only thing that won't continue is him out and about. And that's the part that he actually likes. Going out, meeting the people of the country, meeting the people abroad when he goes on state visits. And that's being denied him at the moment. And that will cause him a certain amount of frustration. But by the same time, he is stoic. He understands what he has, and he understands the treatment that he's got to undergo before he can get back to full harness.
And indeed, this happening just 18 months into his reign, extraordinarily unlucky. Now, we're told if he can't carry out some of those specific constitutional duties, rather than sort of the ribbon cutting and attending the evening events, that he can nominate councillors of state, and they are basically, there's a strict order. Queen Camilla, obviously, Prince William as his heir, but then Prince Harry, Andrew, and then Beatrice, Andrew's elder. And again, no offence to Beatrice, but certainly Harry and Andrew would raise quite a lot of eyebrows if it ever got to that.
Yeah, but let's not forget that the Duke of Edinburgh and the Princess Royal are also councillors of state. And Buckingham Palace are very crafty when they announce the people who are councillors of state, making it very clear that only working royals can act on behalf of the sovereign, which means Andrew, who was fired by his mother, is on gardening leave at Royal Lodge, and Harry immigrated to California. So they're not working royals, and they can't undertake Council of State duties. So we do have 4 councillors of state, so we're well covered in that respect. But hopefully it won't come to that. It won't be necessary to include them. What one has got to think about is if the King becomes really incapacitated, physically, that he can't undertake his constitutional duties, then we're talking about a regency, and that is up to Parliament to decide, not the King, but Parliament to decide based on his health. But we're nowhere near that.
No.
The King has cancer. He's going to have treatment, and in the fullness of time, we all hope and pray that he'll be back on full duty.
What do you make about the decision to go public with this? Of course, going public with a large prostate treatment, that was very unusual to hear about that detail. And we're told, again, you know what royal correspondents are like. They always pretend that they've just chatted to the King a minute ago, saying, oh, he's thrilled that people are talking about this. I've never met the man. I doubt I ever will. He strikes me as someone who'd be mortified to have any information about his personal medical complaints in the public eye. But there just isn't a choice anymore in the social media age. Things have moved on a lot since you were press secretary to Queen Elizabeth in terms of the ability to keep the stuff quiet. And I imagine also, especially with Harry and Meghan, once King Charles had told Prince Harry, the chances of any of this stuff staying private were virtually zero, weren't they?
Yeah, well, you can't keep any of this quiet. And the fact that they went public, the King was going into hospital to have a large prostate dealt with, was very good news, particularly for the NHS, because as soon as that announcement was made, they had something like 16,000 visits to their prostate website, whereas the day before they only had about 1,200. So that really did hammer home the idea that men should not dilly-dally if they feel they've got a problem. Go to your doctor, go to a specialist and get it sorted out. Don't hide behind fear. The fact that they've announced that the King has got cancer, well, they were actually hidebound to do that, because if, for example, the King were going into hospital, there would be questions. Why is he going into hospital again? You can't keep something like secret. The fact that he is going to a London hospital to have treatment, he would be seen. People would say, why is he going into the hospital to have treatment? So come up front, which they have done, say he's got cancer. You don't have to say what sort of cancer he's got. They've said enough. They've said that he will carry on his constitutional duties. In the fullness of time, he will be back on public duty. And until such time, he is undergoing this treatment. And we should leave it at that.